It is a community reaching out to you, so it makes sense when you are asked to pay zakat, because the zakat takes its rounds and it comes back and it raises the community, the issues. Coming back to what Sheikh Isa said, that there are more similarities between Islam and the African way of life than Christianity. Because at a certain stage, if we can even argue that if you are unable to pay your debts, you can appeal to the greater family. Islam says that. You can appeal to the society. And the society will say, but, O king, we gave you so much. Why don't you take from the traditional crawl and all that and pay for the debt of this man, because he's one of us. That is why it is said in the among the Africans, that the child is not brought up by the family, but is brought up by the village. Is it not Islam? Why don't we confirm our Islam? In conclusion, we are calling upon each and every one of us, you and us, to look into Islam from your own roots. If this thing, for instance, did not pose any threat to the society, is it taboo or anything? Because there are other reasons as well, where maybe nowadays I would be very cautious if a young man passes away and leaves a young woman, and then because I look at the woman and say, well, I can go to her in order to keep her within the family, because there are all these diseases and all that. So you've got every right to question and say, please go and check, let's go and check. Maybe we do have this disease, and there are ways in which we can deal with that thing. But all in all, it is to look into how we can keep our Islam alive among us as a people. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I do come from a very difficult background as to being on the streets, and a lot of people have different backgrounds. A lot of the backgrounds are mainly related to the drugs, okay? And you find a lot of them, they have the best of families, but are brought down for some reason or the other through drugs, and they are nobody to, to reach out to the people outside, because they are classed as, not good people, you understand? And, Maaf. So I feel as community, people do very little, for the people that are out there. And as, I don't know, Maaf.
No, speak, it's okay.
I got this.
Your time. In short, she's saying community is very judgmental, even before they know what is happening. And it's not for us. Yesterday I saw a clip, and it is from one of the people who we consider to be pariahs in the Muslim community. This is a Shia alim. He says there are 5 things you don't have to say to people. When people are depressed, don't say to them, hey, up yourself, because it means they're not doing anything about their situation. You create more depression. And you find that that particular person, that even if there is deen or something, the best you have to do is you find out, do you have somebody who's with close to you? Do you have somebody who tries to help you? Okay, if you don't mind, keep my company. And you shut your trap, but you do something. Community is very cruel. I said earlier on this, love is cruel. When people want to protect their own, they become cruel on other people. And these are things we need to look into as a community. Sheikh Isa said, if there was leadership, we would not have this. If there was leadership, we would not have, the tears which we see. Because as a da'iyah, you are faced with all these things. So what do? We can go on for the whole day because there was a time when there was leadership. And when people displaced themselves, some of them willingly, some of them unwillingly. I will talk about the Indian community that came here. I do not know what prompted them to sell themselves to the British, because people do not know that they were actually selling themselves. They sold themselves into a kind of slavery. It is called in English indentured labor system. So you sell yourself for a period of 5 years that you have no rights. You will work for these particular bosses in a particular land. After 5 years, depending on your circumstances or the circumstances in that country, if you like, they can pay you and you can go back. And if you like, you can be allowed to stay and naturalize. Most of the problems which we see stem from that, because when ordinary people come on their own in a position to establish the leadership in their countries, do you expect much from them? We need to look into this thing and begin to appreciate the issues of leadership. They stem from there. That is why if one looks at leadership in Islam is in 2 parts. The first part is the leadership, which is the executive, the police, the real leader. You can call him king, you can call him commander, you can call him governor, you can call him whatever. That is the executive. If somebody steals, they arrest you and you must face the consequences according to the laws. If somebody goes into anything that would jeopardize or double back on the society and all this. And then there are those, the religious leadership, ulama, the umara, amir, umara, and the ulama. When the people decided to come here of their own volition, when they decided on their own, they left the amirs and they came as ordinary people. This is where the whole thing started. And when they felt, you find people like Bachapir, and you find people like, who is this in Riverside, Hazrat Sufi Sahib, coming to South Africa. They wanted to galvanize the people again around the Quran and the Sunnah. We've got to appreciate that. But nowadays you'll find a lot of people, shooting at that thing. If you go to the grave of a man who decided to leave his family for the sake of deen, to come to South Africa and bring people back to the deen, it is said that Hazrat Sufi Sahib, in 11 years of being in South Africa, he built 13 masajid. 13. One as far as Butabute in Lesotho. Now, when you find somebody who understands the sacrifice of such a man, and he goes to his grave, is he going to the grave because the man is going to bless him? He's going to the grave and say, Ya Allah, we thank you for this man. Do we appreciate that? So there are a lot of other issues which we need to look at. Like, people cannot just look at us as a people and think that we just came into this and we do not have law. I once said to some people, we have a body of law that if you can remove the law here, we can simply wheel it into existence and you will see we can run this city. Very easy. smoothly. This is it. There are a lot of things that we can discuss. I've discussed one of them, which is from a very respectable point of view, the Thinyas temple, the plurality of wives. It is from a very respectable point of view. Like sometimes you find an elderly lady who comes into Islam, is not married and all that. Do you marry because you want gratification of the flesh? But if you look at it, it says, maybe there will be that, but what about companionship? What about companionship? Are we going to deny you companionship? When you can be brought in and say, well, it's an agreement. Because in Islam, nikah is called a contract. And contracts are discussed. And you enter into contracts under discussion and say, look, as much as I wish for you to be in Jannah, I wish for me to be in Jannah. I might not be as me, be in a position maybe to satisfy certain things. But there's one thing that I can satisfy, that you could belong to a position that can allow you to say, yes, I am safe. No man can just come to me and say, we'll do this and I will look this way. And as soon as he gets what he wants to get and then he's gone, another one comes, he gets what is you get that kind of thing, which we call the hit and run syndrome. When people became Muslim in societies of yore, the past societies, it's either the king became, or the chief of the area became a Muslim, and he instructed everybody to drop whatever they were doing of their religion. And he became a Muslim. It happened everywhere, even in Europe. You could not be a Muslim alone, and the society was Christian. And you could not be Christian alone among Muslims. No, you could be among Muslims, but not in Christian Europe. In Christian Europe, it was a crime. You could not do that. But among us, we have been divided against each other. You can go among any people among South Africa, to the point where people started creating their own religions, their own fiefdoms, their own leadership, and they do not have a catechism, they do not have any law. You go to among the people of Shembe, Shembe is prophet, Shembe is God. Shembe is this. You go among, it is everything. You go to the people of ZCC. In ZCC, this man is God. There is another church which is called Church of Mudise. Mudise is called God. And in ZCC, they believe in their ancestors. They do this. They believe in dreams. They believe in prophethood. They believe sometimes there are certain people who even try their chances. So I dreamt that I went with a particular lady into the mountain, and we spent some time together, maybe into the night, and in no time, my prophecy says, no, I must know you. I won't go into. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق الخاتم لما سبق الناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدر يوم الدار العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب. Thank you very much.
Who is the loved one? Allah. Who is Ar-Rahman? Allah. Who is Al-Mannan? La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammad is the messenger. To Allah is our return. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammad is the messenger. To Allah is our return. La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله الله أكبر أكبر